Hello there, my name is Anita, and I am with,
Cindy Smithson.
and we're here representing Napa Valley College. We're doing a research paper for schizophrenia and exactly what it is, who does it affect, and we're also going to be speaking about what is the history of mental health.
That's correct.
So, Cindy, can you elaborate and tell me in your own words, and so that our viewers could understand exactly what is schizophrenia?
Sure. Well, first of all, any mental illness that is diagnosed from a doctor, psychiatrist, or psychologist, or the medical profession uses the DSM 4, the DSM 5, which allows for a physician or someone in the medical field to correctly diagnose mental disorders,
So,
including schizophrenia.
tell me, um, what is schizophrenia?
Uh, Basically, schizophrenia is a person who has a specific type of mental illness when they have a thought disorder and perceive real and imaginary thoughts, and their basic thought
Delusional?
is delusional and distorted reality.
And who does this affect? Tell me exactly.
It affects everyone. It affects males, females, basically the onset from the age of 18 to 24.
That's for the males?
That's for males.
Okay.
And for women, it's a later onset at the age of um, early 20s, mid 20s.
Okay, good. And can you please tell me what is the history of mental health? I guess we want to take this back to maybe pre 1960s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be good. Good
before
place to
President
start.
Kennedy became our beloved president. So let's go back to then the late 50s.
Sure, let's do
Okay.
that. So basically,
There was
we did
nothing in
some
place.
research. We did some research, and going back to the early 1950s, when the psychiatric mental health field was evolving, they pretty much did not know what we know today, and people were locked into large institutions for various types of mental illnesses.
Yes, and these people, they were institutionalized for various conditions. It could have been a bipolar disorder. They could have just been experiencing a very high grade of depression. It could have been just having a very low IQ.
That's right.
And society, as we knew it then, was not familiar with correctly diagnosing people. They just didn't fit in. So they were institutionalized, pretty much just put away behind locked doors. Family members were discouraged from visiting them. Family members were discouraged from asking questions in regard to their care and what type of medication they were receiving.
That's
Is that
correct.
whole true?
That's correct.
Okay. Now,
They were
so
put in
then
isolation.
right. So now going fast forward, right before President Kennedy is elected, let's talk about that.
Oh, okay. Well, going back to the early 50s, 60s, we do know, based on our research that Smithson and Rodriguez performed, we studied in depth the studies of the Kennedy family, which has a long history of mental illness. It's been more on the hush hush side, but we found some very interesting article on Rosemary Kennedy and what had happened to her. Was one of the first people to undergo what was mm, a breaking edge treatment in the 50s and 60s, which was the lobotomy that was introduced from psychiatrist Dr. Freeman.
Right. So Rosemary Kennedy was a young girl, high spirited, and she just wasn't up with the stamina or drive for achievement and um, academic status as her brothers. So their father was quite disappointed and decided that something had to be done, and therefore Dr. Freeman was brought into play and performed a tragic lobotomy on young Rosemary. And unfortunately, it did not work. She was completely debilitated and could not walk, could not speak, and was placed into a mental institution. And this was all before John Kennedy was elected president. So, fast forward, he was elected president. And then in 1963, I believe October of 1963, he signed into legislature a bill. What was the name of that bill?
The Community Mental Health Act, and
Right.
that was to uh, rebuild the infrastructure for mental health so that people could start addressing their issues and get well. And he wanted to move away from the large warehouse institutionalized facilities that we have and build wellness centers, rehabilitation centers, and educational centers for people with mental illness, returning soldiers from the war, persons with addictions of substance abuse and alcohol for men, women, and children. And he thought that uh, going from the model of the warehousing and no communication in the centers where they were performing the lobotomies and strange medical procedures, he frowned upon that, especially after what they did to his sister Rosemary. It had a major effect on him, and he wanted to correct that. So he introduced a legislative bill to um, have the federal government fund grants to build the infrastructures within the United States and invest in the American people and the issues at hand over a half a century ago to address mental illness and all the people that mental illness has affected in one way or another.
Right.
So that was
So,
what the history of it.
right. So, thus, deinstitutionalization was born, and we started moving our loved ones into home health care or community based care. And we saw a lot of people getting better. And then right after that, many presidents came and went, and slowly but surely, the program started becoming scarce, and the funds started being diminished, and that things started just going awry from there.
Right.
So,
No one honored the legislative bill, the presidents to come after Kennedy's assassination. No one honored the medical health bill for mental health. And we've been waiting for action on that legislative piece of material. And as you can see around us today, it's had a devastating, explosive effect into our society as we see it now.
right. So people are homeless. They are being misdiagnosed. They are being arrested
Oh, yeah.
for numerous charges. And unfortunately, our law enforcement officers just do not have the appropriate training that they need to adequately help these individuals. If they are disturbing the peace, if they are just causing a ruckus, and they're currently just being arrested and being placed in jail, which is, instead of being placed in a healthcare system in a program and getting that the help they need, whether it be medication or detox from sort of substance abuse, they are brought to the emergency room, and the cost to take care of people suffering from schizophrenia, the cost is being displaced. Instead of it being placed in our health care, the burden of cost is being shouldered on the emergency rooms and, unfortunately, our prison systems and jails. So, what do we need to do about that besides uphold President Kennedy's promise to the people? What do you think we could do? What kind of action can we take? Does anyone out there have any suggestions? What can we do to keep this? We have a primary coming up. We have President Clinton I'm sorry, excuse me, not President Clinton, Hillary Clinton going against Bernie Sanders for the Democratic Party, and they're up against Donald Trump, Republican Party. Neither of these front runners have addressed healthcare systems, other than
Obamacare, and that's not working.
well, uh, we'll save that debate for another date.
Okay.
But getting back to the task at hand here, our healthcare system for the mental.
What happened? Oh, we didn't touch a computer.
Oh, yeah. He's still recording, probably.
As we're talking?
Maybe. And we just hit the 10-minute mark. We could have done it.
Okay.
We're back.
Sorry, we went out